Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel if you've been here before. This video is going to go over my comprehensive brow routines. I actually have 3 routines that I do, and I'm going to go through all 3 of them. I'll put timestamps in the description box down below. I'll first go over products that I'll be using, and then I'll do kind of a really pared down routine, just using a pencil, and then kind of the full Monty that I have on right now. And also I'm doing a series, kind of what's in my bi-weekly makeup bag, and everything that I have on my face, including all the brow products that I use for all 3 iterations, is from my bi-weekly makeup bag. So just so you know about that, I'll put a link in the description box down below to that too. So I'm going to go through kind of the products that I use in the order that I filmed this. The first thing that I'll do when I'm showing you kind of my really quick pared down eyebrow routine is just some kind of a tinted brow gel. The 2 that I like are Glossier Boy Brow, and really small wand. This is in brown. And the one that I'm using today, I don't know what color this is. This is Essence Make Me Brow. Very similar color. It's a brownie kind of a color. So that's what I do if I'm not wearing very much makeup. The second thing that I do is, my second kind of iteration is just a brow pencil. And I prefer a thin pencil. So what I'm using is the Anastasia Brow Wiz, and this is really, really thin, and occasionally I keep trying to like the bigger brow pencils, but my eyebrows are so thin. I lived through the 90s and I did too much plucking, and I'm just I don't really have the brows that I want to have naturally. So this is just often too big for me, but I do keep trying to use it because I know that these are easier if you have a lot of brows because it covers up a lot more real estate. But I do tend to use the thin ones, and I like ones that are more waxy and stiff. The Colourpop ones for me are a little bit too soft, and it's almost like a crayon. I like something a little bit more waxy. I know that Urban Decay is coming out with something I think called the Brow Blade. It isn't out yet. At the time that I'm filming this, I haven't tried it yet, but I am curious about it. I have used, this is from Soap and Glory. It's called Archery, and half of this is it's a thin brow pencil, but not as thin as the Anastasia is, and the other side is a pen. And that's what I'm most excited about with the Urban Decay, because I'm not great at doing like actual eyebrows. People always talk about kind of drawing in individual brows, and I'm not good at doing that, but I kind of wonder if it will be easier when there's this kind of a product. I use this, sometimes it's kind of dry. I've had it for a while. I don't know if you can buy it in the US. I bought it on my honeymoon when I was in England, but I am curious about that. So yes, yeah, brow pencil is the next kind of tier up, and that's what I would use on most days, I would say. And I would go over that with a clear brow gel. And the 2 that I like are the Colourpop Boss Brow Gel and the Anastasia Clear Brow Gel. The Anastasia Clear Brow Gel is a lot more serious. I like the spoolie better on the Colourpop one. It's much smaller. The Anastasia, I'm only using this because it's a lot bigger. Only using this because it came in some kind of a kit around the holidays, and it is in my bi-weekly makeup bag, which is the reason why I'm using it today. I don't prefer this because the spoolie is just too big. I prefer the spoolie to be much smaller. So that is my kind of intermediate eyebrow routine. And then my super duper extra eyebrow routine, which I don't know when this started happening to me, is a combination of several different things. So I begin with a pomade, and the only one that I really ever use is the Anastasia Dip Brow Pomade. Colourpop makes a good one. There are lots of companies that make them. I then use an eyebrow powder. You can use eyeshadow. I used to use eyeshadow, but this is just compact and all in one place. This is the Anastasia Brow Powder Duo in chocolate. I then carve out the bottom of my brow with my NARS Soft Matte Concealer in Vanilla. Sometimes I carve out the kind of beginning of my tail there, sometimes not. Sometimes I begin before I even do anything with my Benefit Bravo Conditioning Primer, which I'll do in this video. Gives me a little bit more volume. I will always finish with something, usually something clear, and today I'm going to end with the Anastasia Clear Brow Gel. And then I don't use this often, and I didn't use it today, but I do occasionally use this Benefit 3D Brow Tones. Came when the Benefit sets came out. I think there were like 2 different sets. One had 3 products and one had a different set of kind of 3 products, and this was in one of them. And this just it's a little shimmery, and it it just makes your eyebrows have a little bit more of a multi-dimensional kind of effect. And I don't use it often, but now I'm thinking about bringing it out. And I don't know when my brow routine got so serious. So gonna jump into kind of my beginning, intermediate, and super duper advanced extra brow routines right now. And so yeah, let's jump into my beginning, intermediate, and super duper extra brow routines now. So on days when I am just wearing minimal makeup and I want to give myself a little bit more definition and maybe some color, I'll go in with a tinted brow gel. And today I'll use Essence Make Me Brow. And I'm just going in and giving myself very, very, very little. But see kind of my eyebrows, one compared to the other. I can already see that I'm getting some more definition and color here. There are other ones that will give you more kind of volume, but that's what I'm doing just on my minimal makeup days. All right, so second is with a brow pencil. And again, I'm using a very thin brow pencil. This is the Anastasia Brow Wiz, and this is very thin. And here's a comparison. This is the Brow Wiz, and this is the Brow Definer, both from Anastasia. And you can see that the footprint of the Brow Wiz is much smaller. So I wear this if I'm doing something kind of quick, but I'm still wearing a decent amount of makeup and I want there to be a good balance between my eyebrows and the rest of my face. So I just go in. I'm not great with kind of getting the feathering kind of up here, and it's all just kind of trends and whatever it is that you want to do. What I do though is I kind of start with small strokes, and I kind of go up on the top and on the bottom. So I'm kind of defining the top and the bottom, kind of toggle between the two. So top, bottom, and I kind of build that out towards where my brow begins. And I try to adhere to this. I have a bald patch on this brow over here, so I build it out a little bit further, but this brow is pretty close to where I naturally want it to be. So when I have that done, then just start filling it in. And again, I'm not great with natural brush strokes. I am curious about what this Urban Decay pen thing is going to be, but I'm just generally kind of following the natural arch of my brow. And then when I get up to kind of the peak of my brow, which theoretically should be right where your pupil is, I kind of go a little bit over on that side of just to the right of my pupil. And then I just go down. And I try to make these very short, not short, but very thin. The tail of my brow is pretty thin, so I just kind of follow that. I don't make that much thicker than it is. And sometimes I build it up a little bit more. Sometimes I'm coming in here and I'm making it a little bit more defined, kind of coming on the top and the bottom to make it a little bit more defined. And then I'll just use a spoolie to brush it through to make it look a little bit more natural. So this is obviously with an eyebrow pencil, without an eyebrow pencil. And sometimes I'll follow this with a clear brow gel. I'm not gonna do that today, but I do that sometimes. All right, and here's my super duper brow routine that I do more often than I thought that I did. So I don't always use this, but I am going to go in with my Benefit Bravo Conditioning Primer. I'm pushing it out on here, and then I'm going to squish it on my hand just to kind of move it into the bristles a little bit more. And I'm going to add some volume to my brows. Any help that I can get to get a little more volume on my brows is appreciated. My brows are pretty thin. You see the difference between this one and this one? This is the one that has it. And then I go in with some kind of a pomade. I'm going in with my Anastasia Dip Brow Pomade in dark brown with an angled brush and just picking up a little bit. And same method as before, but this, I know I'm going to be going back in with a powder, so I'm being a little bit more loose with this, but I am starting on the top and bottom to give myself some definition. And then I kind of build that back towards where my brow begins. Picking up a little more pomade. And yeah, I never use the pomade by itself. I think if I did, I would go in a little bit darker, but this is just giving me a little more volume, a little more dimension. I'm not going in very heavy with the pomade. I just like to give myself a little extra help with having some volume and some little more dimension. Then I go in sometimes with the same brush, sometimes with a different brush, depending on what I'm doing. Typically I use the Anastasia Brow Powder Duo in chocolate, and I try to hit it in the middle so it's not too dark and not too light. So I'm picking up some of that brow powder and then I'm tapping it off. And with this, I'm very firm. With the pomade, I was more kind of brushing, but with this, what I'm doing is I'm putting the brush down, pressing, and kind of lifting up. Learn that from someone at a MAC counter in the 90s, just kind of pressing it down and wiggling and lifting up. And again, following the same steps that I'm doing before with kind of first outlining top and bottom and then filling kind of all the way in. And then I usually do kind of an up and down motion there with the brow with the brush, which I do because I actually don't know why. I think I do it because I feel like it maybe mimics the way that the brow hairs are growing, but that is what I do. And then following it up to the curve, the arch of my brow, a lot more precise with this than I am with the pomade. And getting it right to my arch. I sometimes overdraw a little bit. Not sure if you can see, but I'm a little bit above my natural brow there. And then I just bring it down. And then I come back in just to add a little bit more to make it fuller and also just more evenly distributed. Go in with the spoolie, brush this a little bit. And then to carve out the bottom a little bit, I go in with my NARS Soft Matte Concealer. You could use any concealer, but I like ones that are matte and I like ones that are in a pot. The Glossier Stretch Concealer is a little bit too emollient for me. So this works really well. So I'm using another clean angled brush, putting it in the concealer. And then I'm kind of rubbing it off in the cap just so it's evenly distributed throughout the brush and it's not going to be laying down too much product. And then I follow my lower brow line like this. And I like this a lot better than pencils because you can get so close up in there. And then I just take the brush and I go back kind of right in the same place. And I put my brush on top of it and then I drag it down just to kind of blend it a little bit more. And then not the part that's up near my brow, but the part that's kind of down more on the upper part of my lid, I blend with my finger like that. Sometimes I come and I make the beginning of my brow a little bit more defined like that. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I define the top. I don't do that as often, but sometimes I do that. And then with this, I will always use some kind of clear brow gel to set. I'm using my Anastasia clear brow gel to set today. Sometimes I use the 3D brow tones, that thing if I want to just give myself a little bit of extra dimension. And yes, this is my complete full brow routine, which looks a little bit terrifying without any other makeup on, but I'm going to apply makeup and then come back and say goodbye. All right, that's better. Extra brow and full makeup. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know what your brow routine is. If you have a routine or multiple routines, maybe I'm the only one that has the multiple routines. Yeah, let me know. And thank you so much for watching. A lot to do in the world, a lot to do on YouTube, and it means a lot that you took some time to spend with me today. Take care and I'll see you again very soon. Bye.